Hi guys, my name is Caroline Dare and today's video is going to be a songwriting Q&A. I get questions asked about songwriting nearly every single day, so I thought I'd just go ahead and film an entire video about the subject. I've filmed some songwriting tips videos before, but that was from a long time ago, and I think that, since then I've learned quite a lot about songwriting, so I thought I'd just pass down some advice that I've learned recently and some newer advice that I've learned since I made those videos. So today I posted a picture and I captioned it. I'm planning on filming a songwriting Q&A video for my YouTube channel later today. Feel free to comment below and ask me any questions you have about songwriting, whether it's about strengthening weaknesses or just general questions about songwriting at all. And I got quite a lot of comments, nearly 200 questions, so I'm just gonna dive right in. I just want to say that I am not a professional songwriter, but I do have people listening to my music and I do have advice to pass down to you. So if this is kind of what you need, then keep on watching and give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. What's your favorite part about songwriting? I think my favorite part about songwriting is being able to take a song, having the option to turn it in any direction you want and having the power to do that. I think it's really cool how there are literally no rules to songwriting. You can take the creativity to any level you want. You can make it as metaphoric as you want, or you can make it as simple as you want. I think that's a beautiful thing. This is a question that a lot of people ask me. What is your writing process? What comes first? I think it's really important to know that there are no rules to songwriting whatsoever. You can start with whatever you want. For me, it kind of depends on the day, what kind of song I'm writing. Usually what will really help me is coming up with the chords first and then the melody, and then I like to use the lyrics as like a fill in the blank sort of process. Any tips on how to say things differently than they usually get said? This is always something that I try to aim for whenever I write, just because I've heard the same things over and over and over in so many different songs. I know when something is oversaid and overdone, so I try to avoid that as much as I can. Think of the poetic side of things. That's kind of what I'm trying to improve on, and making things more metaphoric, I guess. Also, a lot of people really want to know how I get inspiration. The thing is that inspiration is always around you, no matter where you are, no matter what time it is, no matter what's going on in your life. There's always going to be something to write about, even when you think there isn't. I think being aware of your surroundings is very, very vital and crucial if you really want to make songwriting, an everyday thing. Be aware of the little things, whenever I'm in a plane, I always look out the window and I see how the weather is, and I take note of the clouds and how the mountains look when I look down. Also, pay attention to your friends, your family, whatever is going on in their lives. Take note of that. If something makes you angry, take note of that. If something makes you sad, take note of that too. How do you come up with chord progressions? Whenever I'm coming up with a chord progression, it kind of depends on what kind of song you want to write, whether it's more of a moody song or if it's more energetic, that sort of thing. I think it's just a matter of playing around with the chords and also learning new ones. How do you come up with strumming patterns? I think that's kind of the same thing. It kind of depends on what kind of song and what the mood is. What do you do if you're stuck in the middle of a song and can't finish it? This happens to me too. I mean, sometimes I'll get stuck, but I really recommend not giving up on it. Try to finish it in one sitting. If you need to, take a break from it just for a few minutes, get a snack or something, and come back and sit down and focus on it. But try to get it done in one session. I know that's way easier said than done, because I know how it feels to get stuck in the middle of a write. How do you come up with metaphors when you write a song? It's hard. I do agree, it is very hard, and that's something that I'm trying to improve on with my writing. I'm trying to become more poetic, and I think the way to do that is listen to lots of music, listen to other artists, and also read more and expand your vocabulary and expand your understanding of different words that you are not too familiar with. Do you ever find it hard to make a song rhyme, and do you have any tips on making them rhyme? Love you. Oh, I love you too. For me, rhyming has never been a problem for me, ever. I think it's like, for me, the struggle is having it make sense. But if you're stuck and you don't really know what to say, or you know what to put at the end of the line to rhyme, a website that I use, this is not sponsored by the way, I don't know why it would be, wikirhymer.com is a good website to use if you can't really think of anything to rhyme. Are there any tips and tricks on how to make your songs sound different to all your other songs? I've struggled with this before too, because after a while you can feel very limited as to what you can play and what you can't, but I really suggest just learning new chords. Do you find it easier to edit or tweak songs in the middle of writing it, or when you finish the whole thing? Usually what I do, I think that rewriting your lines and retweaking and stuff like that is really important and can make your songs so much better. I find myself rewriting lines all the time when I'm in the middle of a session. If something's like sticking out to me and I don't really like it that much, then I'll just go back and I'll be like, okay, we're gonna fix this. Or I can just leave it there and go like, okay, like I'll just leave it there, I won't overthink it, and I'll just come back to it later. What I usually like to do is once I kind of finish the song, I like to record it into my phone, let it sit there for a few hours, come back to it maybe the next morning or a few hours later, listen to it again, and if anything sticks out to me that I really don't like, then I'll go back and tweak it. But I think it's really important to not overthink things. Would you ever try rewriting a song you've already written from years ago and improve it? I know people who do this. There are people who, write a song and then like a year later, after letting it sit there, they come back to it and then they make it so much better. I still have yet to do that. Personally, I like to take my new and improved skills to fresh new songs so I can get a fresh new start. Also, I've kind of grown apart from my older songs too, and I've just been expanding on what I already know. So I think I personally like to apply my new knowledge to new songs. Do you think that songs should always rhyme? They don't have to. It kind of depends. It's totally up to you. I personally like to rhyme just because I like the flow of it better. How much time do you spend for songwriting? I try to write every single day. Obviously sometimes I can't because I travel a lot and I'm away from home and I'm really busy. Whenever I'm not physically in a writing session, I'm listening. I'm listening to music, I'm listening to interviews, I'm taking in inspiration from everything around me, and that really helps with my writing. But I do try to write every single day. That's a habit that I have. Do you start by writing lyrics or the guitar part first? I usually write better when I have chords so that, melody comes, and then, as I said before, the lyrics are kind of like a fill in the blank sort of thing. When you get writer's block, how do you overcome it? Thankfully, I haven't had writer's block in a while, and I hope it doesn't come back anytime soon because I'm feeling like really inspired and motivated to write and stuff. I would say, don't let that discourage you from anything. Write even when you don't feel like it. If you can't really bring yourself to write down lyrics on paper or anything like that, if you can't come up with anything, I suggest just learning about new things. How do you come up with the titles for your song? Love you. Love you too. Sometimes they come easily to me, sometimes they don't. I've had songs where it's taken me a while to secure a name for them. I don't usually come up with a title first. Just go to a local bookstore, look at titles and stuff, and I like to type down the titles in my notes and I look at them later. It's cool because you have titles that you could take a whole different story on. What inspires you to write the songs you write? Like the love songs, for example. Is there someone you have a crush on? It's so funny because like I've never been in a relationship in my entire life yet. I've written about love, I've written about, being upset over someone, and yeah, like everybody has crushes over somebody, and the beauty of songwriting is that you can fantasize about whatever and make a whole entire story about it. So that's what I tend to do. I just take inspiration from my friends, my family. Like my best friend is in a relationship and I keep an eye out all the time. So how long does it normally take to write a song? Usually the ideal time is maybe like an hour and or an hour and a half. Outcast is a song that I wrote when I was 14 and it took me 11 minutes to write. This Love is also a song that I wrote when I was 14 and it took me 6 months to finish. How do you come up with such original ideas for lyrics? I don't know, I wish I had a better explanation for this, but I was never taught how to write songs or anything. But I think it's just a matter of listening to how you feel about the situation and coming up with a line and thinking of how you can make it better. Do you try to follow a structure when you write songs? No, I don't really think about it. I kind of just sit down and do it. I'm not consciously thinking of a structure like, oh, it has to be like this, it has to be like that. I feel like that really messes me up. How do you know when your song is finished, like you stop revising it and just stop working on it? I usually stop writing when I'm perfectly satisfied with everything that's in the song, I guess. Like I said earlier, I voice memo the song, you know, I kind of just play it and record it on my phone, and then I listen to it maybe like the next morning, and if I like what I hear and I can't stop listening to it, then that's it for me. Do you believe that anyone can improve as long as they keep trying? Obviously. That's like how I've kept improving. It's because I never stopped. I mean, I've been writing since I was 11 years old, and you know, my songs back then weren't that good lyrically at all. Like, you gotta start somewhere. So I think it's just a matter of consistently practicing. Like, you're only gonna get better. Do you think it's easier to write songs about someone in particular or songs in general about feelings or something? Well, I guess it kind of depends on what your life story is. Me being very lonely growing up, I've really depended on how I feel about things, so I think my most authentic songs have been just about general feelings. For example, Waterfall is about a time where everything to me seemed so dreary and I was very upset about everything around me and I couldn't really grasp and appreciate those things. And I wrote about it, and then I started playing it on the live shows and everything, and everybody related to it. Have you ever started a song and never finished it? Yeah, all the time. Like, there have been songs where like it just didn't feel like it was worth finishing because it just didn't click well and it wasn't standing out to me. You're gonna write good songs, you're gonna write bad songs. Whether it's good or not, just be glad that you did it. Do you come up with a plan before writing, like a list of ideas or lyrics you want to include in the song? I don't really do that. I kind of just sit down and just have at it. I don't really come up with a plan before. If you're going into a co-write, if you're writing with other people, I think it would be a good idea to have some ideas in mind and titles or whatever, chord progressions, whatever you want. I think it's important to have something to bring to the table. What are the pros and cons of writing in a group? You're going to mesh well with some writers and others not so much. You're gonna have good co-writes where you write a song in literally an hour, or you can be in a really tough write that lasts 6 hours. You know, like it totally depends, and I think it's just a matter of finding the right people. How do you write songs with a clear theme? I always struggle to do that. It's tough because you know the story fully, but when you try to translate that into a song, it can be hard for other people to understand if you haven't included enough detail. Obviously, being metaphorical can be really cool, but you don't want it to be so discreet that literally nobody has any clue what you're saying. Sometimes talking it out really helps get a grasp on the story and the beginning of it. So if you're really struggling to kind of like get all that detail in, just, you know, kind of replay the story back in your head from start to finish. Do you try and write a certain number of songs in a week, month, or whatever? I don't really have a deadline to write songs or anything. I kind of write just to write because I'm not signed to like a publishing deal or a record deal or whatever it is. But I do try to write as much as I can, just so I have enough material and, you know, just so that I'm constantly improving. Do the stories of your songs often mean anything personally to you, or are they just stories? A lot of them are very personal to me. I treat songwriting as a way to cope, and it's like my diary. If you ever wonder like I want to know more about Caroline, I feel like I don't know her enough, well, listen to my songs and you know me. Do you remember the first song you ever wrote? Yeah, I do. I remember writing it and I was scared while I was writing it because it was such a big change in my life, because I've always been really athletic and music wasn't my focus at all. So once I picked up the guitar and I learned my first chords and I started writing, it was totally different and it was a lot to adjust to, but it really clicked for me and I'm really happy that I did it. I think that's about all the questions that I'm going to answer today. I hope you guys found this video helpful, and if you have any other questions, feel free to comment down below and I'll try to get around to those too. These are basically the most frequently asked questions that I get nearly every single day. I really hope you guys found it helpful and it was a lot of fun to make, and I'm glad I could help you guys out. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up and be sure to subscribe to my channel for more videos, and be sure to follow all my other social medias. All the links will be down in the description below if you want to follow me. I post a lot. There's a lot going on in my life, so if you want to keep up with me, be sure to follow me on all those. They'll be linked down below. And I'll see you guys sometime soon. I love you very much. Bye!